The old master is dying. He was the only person who truly loved her in this Nan family. He was the person who spoiled her back then. If these people wanted to stop her today, she had no choice but to kill all of them. She must go to the old master's side, even if it was just to see him taking his last breath. Sui? Wei Rong finally decided to speak up. She said coldly, "Don't think you can do whatever you want in the Nan family because Nan Fong still has some feelings for you. The old master doesn't want to see you at all. If you go, you might only make him die miserably." "That's right. Nan Sui, the old master is your father. Even if you did not grow up by his side, he is still your father. How could you hate your father this much? Don't you want him to die in peace?" Sui did not say much. The long sword in her hand conjured up a storm and sent the crowd flying some distance away. The elders of the Nan family were quite strong. After flying a distance away, they stood up straight again and blocked the door, not allowing Sui to approach it. The white phoenix swooshed into the sky, carrying a strong storm with its wings. It looked so furious as these people had hurt its beloved Sui. Wei Rong saw Nan Luo standing next to Sui. Her face turned cold. "Nan Luo, come here." Nan Luo panicked. She bit her lip, somewhat hesitant, but she still went to Wei Rong. Wei Rong lifted her hand and slapped Nan Luo's face hard. "Who asked you to tell Sui about this?" "I." Nan Luo lowered her head and dared not say more. She did not dare to tell her mother her real intention in front of Sui. Nan Sui was the mother of the man Nan Luo had fallen in love with. How could she not care for Sui? Sui did not really like her, so she must do her best to win Sui's heart again. Only then would she had a chance to be with that man. However, Wei Rong only had her brother at heart. She had never paid the slightest bit of attention to Nan Luo. The sky was darkened quickly. Me for extra chapters. The woman standing under the dark clouds ambled toward the crowd with the sword in her hand. The crowd was somewhat stunned as they saw how powerful Nan Sui had become now. Her fierce aura had made their breathing grow heavy. "I said get out of my way. All of you. Today no one can stop me from seeing my father." The strong wind raged. The storm surged from Sui's body, turning into a powerful force, and swept toward the elders with a roar. The elders flew like arrows from that and fell to the ground in a heap. Everyone froze, staring at Sui with eyes filled with horror. No one dared to move. "Stop." Suddenly a cold voice shouted. The crowd turned their heads and saw Nan Fong come out of the courtyard. His eyes were fixed upon Sui. "Sui, stop it. When father asked you to marry me, you refused and had made him angry. Father fell ill because of you and he's still mad at you. So don't go in. Don't anger him." When Nan Fong said this, energy also gradually surged from him. Sui sneered. "You know the truth better than anyone else." "I do know better than anyone else, but I still respect you, Sui. After all, everyone here already knows all that happened back then." Hearing these words, those elders all snorted as they regained their senses from the shock they had just felt. The old master wanted to marry his daughter to Nan Fong back then. However, his daughter was too rebellious and got together with a servant boy, making the old master so angry that he took ill in bed for years. Not only that, his daughter was so rude to the old master that he had disowned her. All people in Nan City knew about this matter. Her reputation was ruined, so she left Nan City and had never returned since. And what would happen if I insist on going in? Sui did not bother to argue. Perhaps she had long understood that it was useless to argue with this man. Nan Fong frowned and replied gently, "Sui, stop it." Wei Rong's face darkened as she heard Nan Fang's voice. "My dear husband, what are you waiting for? Sui will not stop until she gets what she wants. If you still care about the old master, you should throw Sui out. Don't let her cause any more trouble in the Nan family." Nan Fong was silent as his eyes were still fixed upon Sui's face. Suddenly the white phoenix waved its wings, sending a violent gust of wind at Nan Fong. Nan Fong sneered. He raised his hand and in an instant the gust of wind changed direction and flew back at the white phoenix. "White phoenix." Sui's face changed dramatically. Fortunately, the white phoenix moved fast enough and dodged the attack. However, the wind hit the wall behind it, destroying everything. Sui's face turned cold. It seems like Nan Fong has become stronger, but no matter how strong Nan Fong is, I must meet father for the last time. Sui gripped the long sword in her hand tightly, and in a flash she was already in front of Nan Fong. Me for extra chapters. The sky in the entire Nan City was covered with dark clouds. When Feng Ruqing and Nan Xian walked into Nan City, they found that the city was unusually quiet. "Stop." The guard at the city gate stopped Feng Ruqing and asked expressionlessly, "Which family are you from in Nan City? Do you have a token?" A token? Feng Ruching looked at the guard coldly. Yes, you must have a token to enter Nan City. Oh, Feng Ruching answered faintly. Suddenly, she raised her fist and slammed it down upon the guard's chest, sending him flying away with a single punch. Is this enough? She smirked as she slowly passed the city gate. The guard got up from the ground and wanted to say something. However, Feng Ruching simply walked over him and stepped on him, almost making him vomit a mouthful of blood. The guard's face darkened. You? He turned back angrily and was about to curse, but a powerful burst of force came fiercely at him and spread in his body. He then spurted a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground. The moment he fell down, he saw a handsome man in a white dress slowly withdrawing his hand. He acted like nothing happened as he calmly walked past him. His face was cold and expressionless. Mother, Xia turned to Feng Ruching. Her eyes seemed to shine like there were stars in them. She smiled brightly as she asked, "Will we see grandmother soon?" Yes. Feng Ruching smiled gently as Suyi's face appeared in her mind. It's been 2 years. In the blink of an eye, she had left Songyu mainland and had not seen them for 2 years. She did not expect Suyi to come to land of no return. Xia smiled and lowered her head. But I have not prepared any gifts for grandmother. It's all right. Feng Ruching touched Xia's cute little nose. You'll get a gift from her. Great. Xia giggled. Will it be food? It might be some phoenix soup. Feng Ruching smiled. That white phoenix can't leave Suyi alone. So no matter where Suyi goes, it will definitely follow her. Nan Suyi took a few steps back, blood dripping from the corner of her mouth. The white phoenix looked down at Suyi, surrounded by the people from the Nan family. She looked so lonely as if everyone was against her, and she had always been alone. At that moment, the white phoenix's heart ached a little more for her. Suyi is a good woman. Why is there always someone bullying her? Mu Ling bullied her, and now the Nan family. She doesn't deserve to be treated like this. Blood spurted from Suyi's arm, staining the white phoenix's eyelids red. Its eyes gradually turned red, and a loud phoenix's caw, carrying sorrow and anger, echoed in the sky. Me for extra chapters. Nan Xian suddenly stopped in his tracks and looked in the direction where the phoenix's caw was coming from. His handsome face changed dramatically. Is that the white phoenix? Feng Ruching panicked. Suyi and the white phoenix must be in danger. Let's go. She picked up Xia, and in the blink of an eye, she was already in the sky not far away. The white phoenix rushed toward the crowd with deep anger and hatred, wanting to burn all these people. Nan Feng raised his eyes and saw a sizzling fireball rushing toward him. His face changed dramatically and he quickly took a few steps back. He then took out his long sword to block the flying white phoenix. The white phoenix's energy grew a little too much, causing Nan Feng's face to darken. White phoenix. Suyi was stunned as she looked at the angry white phoenix. White phoenix turned to Suyi and said, "Go to old Master Nan. Quickly. He'll hold everyone off for you." But you, Suyi, from the day we met, I swore that I would never let anyone bully you again, be it Mu Ling or anyone else. Do whatever you want to do. I can block them for you. If there is a violent storm, then I will use my body to block it for you. I only wish to give you a clear sky. Go. The white phoenix swung its claw at Nan Feng. Its eyes were now filled with murderous intent, and it was no longer as innocent as before. Suyi looked at the white phoenix again before quickly running toward the courtyard. Nan Luo hurriedly chased after her. Aunt Suyi, I know where grandfather is. I'll take you there. Nan Luo. Wei Rong's face changed dramatically as she snapped, "What are you doing there? Get out of here." However, Nan Luo ignored Wei Rong and ran in, bringing Suyi to old Master Nan. Nan Feng did not say anything as he thought what Nan Luo had done was not totally bad. At least, her daughter would gain Suyi's trust. Then everything would be worth it. He never felt that Nan Luo would betray him because, after all, Nan Luo was his daughter. She would always listen to him. Moreover, Nan Luo was not very important in the Nan family. Nothing would change whether she was there or not. Nan Luo quickly stood in front of Suyi. Seeing Suyi accepting her help to lead the way, Nan Luo let out a soft sigh in relief and smiled. This time Aunt Suyi will definitely forgive and accept me again. She had betrayed her parents for Suyi. Suyi indeed did not refuse Nan Luo's help as she desperately wanted to meet her father. She only hoped to see him as soon as possible and no longer cared about anything else. However, the moment Suyi pushed open the door, her heart ached and her tears almost fell. She suddenly remembered 20 years ago when her long-lost father walked up to her and asked her if she would like to go home with him. The man's tall and strong figure was imprinted in her mind and never forgotten. However, only after 20 years he had become so old. So old that she was a little afraid to face him. "Father?" Suyi stroked the old man's head that was full of white hair gently. Tears fell, even her hands were trembling. "Me for extra chapters." Hearing her voice, the old master opened his eyes and saw Suyi in front of him. His eyes lit up. "See? My daughter. Father, your daughter has been unfilial. I got here too late. Please forgive me." Suyi's voice cracked. Her hand trembled hard as she held the old master's dry, old hand, trying to help him up from the bed. "They'll take you away. They'll take you to Chinger. She must have a way to save you." The old master stretched out his hand, trying to wipe away the tears on his daughter's face. His lips trembled and tears slid down his cheeks. It's too late, too late. He was dying now and no one could save him. However, he was so grateful to see his daughter for the last time before he died. The Nan family was not safe anymore. She should not come back. The old master grabbed Suyi's hand and slowly wrote a word on her palm. "Run. Run as far away as possible and never come back." Suyi held the old master's hand tightly. "Father, why are you writing to me? Why aren't you saying anything?" The old master opened his mouth, but his throat, except for coughing, could not make any other sound. "Nan Fong did this. It's his doing, isn't it?" Suyi's eyes were filled with anger as if they could burn everything down. This ungrateful beast, did he already forget where he came from? If you hadn't adopted him back then he would not have survived until today, but he has treated you like this and gone against you. Suyi's voice was a little hoarse and she could not stop sobbing. If I had not left back then, would all things have been different? Father would not have had to suffer like this. It was her selfishness back then that harmed the only person who loved her in the Nan family. "Father, you don't have to worry. I came here to take you away." Suyi forced the old master up from the bed. "It doesn't matter if you can't speak. Chinger is very powerful and she knows everything. She will have a way to save you." Cough. Old Master Nan coughed violently again. Every time he coughed he would spit a mouthful of blood. Suyi was shocked, her eyes reddened. Old Master Nan slowly raised his hand, wanting to push Suyi away, because he knew that he had no chance at living anymore. Even if he left he would not be able to live long, so why drag his daughter down with him? "Father." Suyi gritted her teeth and said forcefully, "I'll tell you the truth. Your grandson and granddaughter-in-law are still waiting for you. You have to hang in there. Otherwise, I will not leave the Nan family today." Though the old master was seriously ill, she still had a way to take him away. However, her greatest fear was that the old master was unwilling to hold on. If that were the case, even if she safely brought him out, it would be useless. The old master's eyes lit up again. "Grandson? Granddaughter-in-law? Your granddaughter-in-law has given birth to a child. Don't you want to meet them? If you give up like this, won't you regret it?" Hearing Suyi's words, the old master's lips moved slightly, and he slowly closed his eyes. If he could not see his grandson and granddaughter-in-law, how could he have no regrets? Me for extra chapters. His most beloved daughter was married, and he wanted to see whom she was married to so that he could die in peace. Suyi saw that the death wish on the old master's face had disappeared. She slowly let out a sigh of relief. She then helped him up and walked out of the room. "Aunt Suyi," Nan Luo followed her, biting her lip pitifully. Suyi stopped in her tracks and said, "You don't have to follow me. After all, you are Nanfang's daughter. He harmed my father. I have an unforgivable hatred toward him." Nan Luo panicked and tears slowly flowed down her face. "Aunt Suyi, it's indeed my father's fault. But I'm different from him. I like you, Aunt Suyi. Otherwise, I would not tell you all these things and bring you here. Father was trying to hide it from you." Nan Luo pursed her lips and lowered her head. "But it's fine if Aunt leaves me behind. I've already betrayed my father. Aunt, don't worry, father will only punish me, he won't kill me. I'm still his daughter." She raised her head and smiled bitterly. Suyi stopped in her tracks. What Nan Luo said was right, she did come to inform her. Nan Luo had betrayed Nan Fong, and Nan Fong would certainly punish her severely. "Alright, then you can come with me. However, you have to go your way after I bring you out of here." Since Nan Luo had helped her, she could not be a heartless person to leave her here alone. Moreover, there was no harm if she brought her out of the Nan family. However, somehow Suyi could only feel sympathy for Nan Luo. She still did not like her. Nan Luo smiled faintly. "Thank you, Aunt Suyi. I feel that what you said back then is true. I thought that I must be filial to them because they are my parents. Then I realized that I'm so dumb. I have had enough, and I don't want to be the young lady of the Nan family. I want to leave this place. Sui looked at Nan Luo, confused. What made her change this fast? However, she did not have too much time to pay attention to Nan Luo, and after carrying the old master on her back, she walked toward the door again. The sky outside the room was clear, and the sun was also shining brightly. Old Master Nan had not seen the sunlight for more than 20 years since he had been seriously ill, and now when the sunlight shone upon his body, it actually felt extremely surreal. Cough. Old Master Nan coughed again. The sound of his cough was like a hand gripping Sui's heart fiercely, making her uncomfortable and somewhat breathless. The battle at the courtyard door still had not stopped. The white phoenix blocked everyone from coming forward with its huge body. It was stained with blood, even some of its feathers had fallen to the ground, but it did not want to retreat. Because the woman it loved most was in this courtyard. The woman that it would use its life to protect. An elder looked at the white phoenix whose feathers were all red and frowned. Master, it is a spirit beast. We can use the Nan family's beast taming technique to domesticate it. Nan Fong did not answer him. This phoenix is somewhat strong. It's not easy to control, however he would do it for Sui. Me for extra chapters. Nan Fong pulled out a packet of powder from his lapel and sprinkled it in front of the white phoenix. The white phoenix inhaled the powder. It felt so cold but comfortable. Buzz. Suddenly, a powerful force violently rushed into the white phoenix's head, waiting for an opportunity to take over its mind. However, the white phoenix quickly regained its senses and tried its best to regain its consciousness. It understood that if Nan Fong controlled it, it would not only completely forget Sui, but it also might do something to harm her. It had promised that it would protect her with its life and never help others to hurt her at all. Poof! The white phoenix spurted a mouthful of blood. It held its head tightly, desperately resisting, not allowing these people to control its mind. Master, what's wrong with this phoenix? Why is its willpower so strong? One of the Nan family elders was shocked. He wondered why the white phoenix could resist the Nan family's beast-taming technique. Nan Fong remained silent, and his face and his lips were a little pale. Perhaps he had used too much power that drained his energy, making him look exhausted. Get out of my way, the white phoenix shouted angrily, shaking the entire city. This is not a beast-taming but demonic technique to forcefully control the spirit beast's mind. No wonder the spirit beasts in the Nan family are like puppets. I finally understand now. But these methods are useless to me. I will never be bewitched by you. In this life, the only one I trust is always Sui. The white phoenix's caw echoed in the sky. Nan Fong gritted his teeth and once again tried to control the white phoenix's mind using his spiritual energy. The power rampaged through the white phoenix's mind, causing it some pain. It clutched its head tightly, blood flowing out of its ears as it stared at Nan Fong with eyes filled with murderous intent. It's useless. All methods are useless to me. I've said that I would protect Sui, and I will never betray her in this life. Sui had suffered too much. How could it hurt her again? Blood flowed from the white phoenix's nostrils and eyes, and it looked so miserable. Stop it! An angry shout came from inside the courtyard. Nan Fong turned and saw Sui carrying the old master on her back and walking out. Her pace was quite fast, and each step was like a heavy sound that struck the white phoenix's heart hard. Sui, take him away. Go. The white phoenix's voice was hoarse and trembling. Sui continued walking out of the courtyard, staring at Nan Fong calmly. Nan Fong? She looked so calm as if she had nothing to fear. God is watching you. Have you ever thought about what will come to you later when you do all these bad things? Nan Fong laughed coldly. What? I'm just taming the beast. I did not hurt this phoenix because I know it's yours. But your phoenix has blocked our way. So we have to teach it a lesson. Sui clenched her fists tightly. She took a deep breath and forced herself to continue to stay calm. Let us go, me for extra chapters. Now was not the time to take revenge as the old master was dying. They could only return after the old master recovered. You can go, but you must put my father down. Nan Fong flung his long sleeves and blocked Sui's way. The old master is dying. Sui, as his daughter, can you at least let him die in peace? Wei Rong looked at Sui before turning to Nan Fong. Can't you see what's on her mind right now? She thinks that as long as the old master is in her hands, she can use him to threaten you to give her the Nan family. The greatest tragedy in old Master Nan's life is to have such a selfish daughter. Sui clenched her fists tightly. She could feel the old master's breathing getting weaker. Let us go. I'll only say this one last time. Sui raised her face and looked at Nan Fong calmly. Nan Fong said coldly, put my father down and you can leave any time. Suyi's face darkened as if keeping calm had taken all her strength. Suyi, the white phoenix coughed a mouthful of blood. Take the old master out of this place. I can hold them off. Just like earlier. Suyi turned to look at the weakening white phoenix. We will leave together. Father is important to me and so are you. I won't leave you behind. The white phoenix froze. It felt warmed as it looked at Suyi's gentle face. It turned out that it was also important to Suyi. Then its efforts all along had not been in vain. All right, the white phoenix smiled. We will leave together. If we have to die here, I will definitely die first in front of Suyi. However, as long as it was still alive, it would not allow Suyi to be injured. Nan Fang's face darkened. Suyi is so gentle even to a phoenix, but why does she never smile at me? Master, we can't let her leave with old Master Nan. Who knows where she is going to dump the old master's body? Master should not be kind with this disobedient and unfilial woman. Look, now she has caused trouble again. And young lady Nan is such an ungrateful child. How dare she help Nan Suyi in this phoenix? She has forgotten who gave her a luxurious life. Nan Luo's face changed slightly and she lowered her head. No one could see her expression clearly at this moment. Of course, no one had time to pay attention to her. Father? Suyi looked at the old man lying on her back gently. Don't fall asleep yet. Don't sleep at all. We will be able to leave soon. If you fall asleep, you might not be able to see them. Perhaps Suyi's words had an effect. The old man on her back moved, but he still did not have much strength to open his eyes, and his coughing sounded somewhat exhausting. After feeling some old man's movements, Suyi carried the old man on her back and walked out again. I came back to take my father away. Whether you try to stop me or not, I will still leave this place with him. The white phoenix's head felt better now and was not as painful as earlier since Suyi appeared. It came down from the sky and landed on Suyi's back. It gritted its teeth and said, Suyi, come up. Suyi was silent for a moment. Can you do it? Suyi, I am a male. Of course I can do it. For Suyi, even if I can't, I have to do it. Me for extra chapters. Suyi leaped onto the white phoenix's back. Nan Luo panicked. She rushed to Suyi's side pitifully. Aunt Suyi? Suyi pondered for a moment. Bring her out of here and find a place to put her down. She has helped me after all. All right. Even though the white phoenix disliked Nan Luo, he would not go against Suyi. However, it would not allow Nan Luo to sit on its back. It stretched its claws and grabbed Nan Luo by her collar. Nan Fang knew what they were going to do. His face changed dramatically and he shouted sternly, surround all of them. No one is allowed to escape today. Yes, master. The elders swiftly rushed toward the white phoenix. The white phoenix flew into the sky. It flapped its wings, forming a fierce wind around it. Nan Luo was so scared that her face turned pale. She had never been in such a high place. Moreover, the white phoenix was only grabbing her collar. If she were not careful, she would fall to the ground and die. She closed her eyes and did not dare to look down. All the elders swiftly rushed to the sky and surrounded the white phoenix. However, the white phoenix ignored the people blocking it and continued to fly higher into the sky. The white phoenix flew higher up to the sky and it was getting faster. Only in this way could it bring Suyi away. A few moments later, the white phoenix looked down and heaved a sigh of relief as it saw those elders could not fly higher and were no longer chasing them. However, a burst of powerful energy violently exploded in its mind, hurting its body. Seemed like Nan Fang was still trying to control its mind. It took Suyi away, so Nan Fang used this method to force it to come down. White Phoenix, are you all right? Suyi seemed to notice something strange about the white phoenix. She panicked and asked, White Phoenix, are you all right? The white phoenix shook its head, gritted its teeth and said, I'm fine. Suyi, you don't have to worry. I will bring you home. Little Ching Ching and Nan Xian are waiting for us. Really? Suyi was a little suspicious of it. Her heart was still full of worry, afraid that bad things would happen to the white phoenix. We're safe now. Why don't we go down first? I'm afraid your body can't hold it. It's all right. The white phoenix shook its head and smiled gently. I will take you with me. As long as I am here, no one can hurt you and your father. It would protect Suyi with its life. No matter what, it must take her to a safe place. Nan Luo looked at the white phoenix and already knew what Nan Fang had done to it. However, this time she would stand on her aunt's side, and if she was caught and brought back to the Nan family, her life there might be worse than death, and she could never leave the Nan family again. Therefore she wanted to be selfish for once. Besides, the white phoenix's condition was not too serious, and it could be treated later. For now they must leave this place first because if they were caught, all of them would die in Nan Fang's hand. Nan Luo lowered her head, hiding the guilt in her eyes. Me for extra chapters. She did all these for the White Phoenix and her aunt, not just for herself. White Phoenix, tell me if you have any discomfort. Suyi caressed the White Phoenix's head. You and my father are equally important to me. The White Phoenix felt warmed as it heard Suyi's words. Boom. Suddenly, the powerful energy exploded in its mind again. It was afraid that Suyi would notice something, so it tried to resist hard. Blood had almost spurted out its mouth, but it held back. It trembled harder as that energy kept attacking its mind as if the power wanted to force it to come down. Even so, the White Phoenix held back hard. It could not let Suyi worry and would never allow her to be in danger again. Not far away, a group of people, led by Nan Fang, swiftly ran over. He had attacked the White Phoenix so many times, but it was still flying high in the sky. Master. An elder said coldly, if this continues, I'm afraid old Master Nan will die up there. We don't know where these bastards are going to take the old master. Hurry up and think of something. To Nan Fang, whether the old master was dead or alive had nothing to do with him. However, it would be difficult for him to meet Suyi again. He must not let her go. Nan Fang closed his eyes, gathered up all his power, and used all his strength to attack the White Phoenix's mind. Initially, he wanted to keep the White Phoenix in the Nan family because it was so strong and useful to the Nan family. However, now he did not care about it anymore. Suyi would not come down if he did not kill the White Phoenix. The White Phoenix suddenly spurted a mouthful of blood and fell from the sky. White Phoenix. Suyi was shocked and her expression changed dramatically. She could do nothing to stop them from falling because the White Phoenix was too huge to handle. Nan City. The residents were aware of the fight that was happening in the Nan family right now. The streets were empty as they all hid in their homes and did not dare to go out. Only 3 figures were running swiftly toward Nan Manor. Suddenly, a black shadow covered the sky. Feng Ruching stopped in her tracks, looked up, and saw a huge figure was falling from the sky toward them. Qinger, Nan Xian rushed to Feng Ruching and pulled her into his arms. Xia Xia froze. She stared at Nan Xian and Feng Ruching and then looked at the black shadow overhead with teary eyes. Bang. The White Phoenix fell on these 3 people, soft and comfortable. Nan Luo had long been thrown away by it, landing in a nearby tree. She felt dizzy and her vision became blurry. White Phoenix. Suyi jumped down from the White Phoenix's back. Her eyes were full of worry when she saw the White Phoenix lying unconscious. White Phoenix, are you alright? What happened just now? The White Phoenix did not answer her. Me for extra chapters. Suyi looked under the White Phoenix's body and saw a small hand sticking out from under it. That must be a child. Boom. Suddenly, a powerful force came from underneath its body. The White Phoenix, which had just been seriously injured, was struck by this blow and flew a few meters away. Xia Xia. Feng Ruching's face was pale. Fortunately, she had reacted fast and pulled Xia Xia into her arms before the White Phoenix fell on them. However, despite being safe under her protection, Xia Xia was still foaming at the mouth and lying motionless on the ground. Feng Ruching hurriedly fed her the herbal soup, and Xia Xia's eyelids started to move. She gradually opened her eyes and smiled. Mother, I'm fine. Feng Ruching heaved a sigh of relief. She then turned to look at Nan Xian. I can protect myself. In the future, no matter what happens, you must protect Xia Xia first. Nan Xian looked at Xia Xia's pale face. Sorry, I forgot we brought her with us. Feng Ruching was speechless. At this moment, Feng Ruching secretly made a decision. In the future, she would never let Nan Xian bring Xia Xia out again. Otherwise, he might lose his daughter and not even realize it. Since the appearance of Feng Ruching and others, Suyi remained silent. She turned to look at the White Phoenix lying half dead on the ground and felt pity for it. It had accidentally landed on Qinger and hurt Xia Xia. Qinger would never let it go. Feng Ruching turned and saw Suyi standing in front of her, shocked. Suyi? So the thing that landed on them just now was... Feng Ruching turned her head slowly, and her eyes fell upon the White Phoenix lying on the ground. Her face darkened. White Phoenix. This phoenix had almost crushed her beloved daughter. If this White Phoenix had not fallen unconscious, she would have picked it up and beat it. However, her expression changed slightly when she noticed that the White Phoenix still wasn't moving. Suyi, what's wrong with this White Phoenix? Suyi shook her head. I'm not sure. Just now it was flying fine. Then it had suddenly become unconscious. Feng Ruching frowned. She walked up to the White Phoenix and touched the White Phoenix's head. Her fingertips tingle and she quickly withdrew her hand. There is another spiritual energy inside the White Phoenix's head. Suyi, if it continues, I'm afraid the White Phoenix will either become a fool or be controlled by someone. I will treat him first. All right. Suyi nodded and looked at the White Phoenix worriedly. As Suyi's eyes were still fixed upon the White Phoenix, someone suddenly tugged at her dress. Suyi lowered her eyes and saw a lovely little girl looking at her. Her expression softened a bit and she slowly squatted down. Your name is Xia, right? The little girl blinked and nodded. Yes, Xia is a nickname. My name is Nan Chiyu. Suyi's heart softened. She liked little girls and this little one was so adorable that no one could resist her cuteness. Me for extra chapters. Xia, it's the first we met. I'll find you a gift later. All right, Xia smiled sweetly. Suddenly she paused, biting her lip. Will grandmother forget me as father did just now? You're not a boy. I won't ever forget you. Suyi raised her hand and caressed Xia's small head. Her eyes were filled with this cute little girl, and she even forgot that the White Phoenix was still unconscious. Xia exhaled heavily. That's good. Otherwise, Xia would not dare to go out with grandmother in the future. If Xia goes missing, Xia will never see mother again. Oh. Xia suddenly remembered something and looked at Suyi blankly. If I were a boy, will grandmother forget me? Suyi's face stiffened and coughed awkwardly. No. It doesn't matter if Xia is a boy or a girl, I will never forget you. Xia smiled brightly, her eyes shining like stars. Wait, Suyi stiffened, her face turned pale. Where is my father? Nan Xan looked at Suyi indifferently. He had forgotten his daughter and Suyi had lost her father. So in the end they were no different. Grandfather, a low cry came from the side. Suyi turned and saw Nan Luo hugging old Master Nan, crying pitifully. Father. Suyi panicked. She ran up and put her finger under the old master's nose, and only after feeling the faint breath did she breathe a sigh of relief. Fortunately, he's still alive. Xia cocked her head and looked at the old man lying on the ground in confusion. She walked to the old man's side and frowned. Grandmother, I don't like the smell on him. Xia turned to Suyi. It stinks. Without waiting for Suyi to speak, Nan Luo snapped angrily, and her voice was tinged with tears. My grandfather is dying and you still dislike him so much. Aunt Suyi, your granddaughter is so rude. Suyi frowned. She disliked Nan Luo scolding Xia in such a tone. However, she did not have time to scold Nan Luo back. She saw that Nan Xian had walked slowly to Xia's side, raised his hand and touched her small head. Xia would not be rude to others, and that was why all people in Wushang City loved her. She was saying that it must be because she really felt something. Go to him and smell again, Nan Xian said calmly. Suyi and Nan Luo froze, not understanding what Nan Xian was trying to do. All right, Xia ran to the old master's side, squatted down, and sniffed him everywhere like a puppy. Then she pointed at the old master's stomach. He stinks here. It smells bad. Suyi and Nan Xian looked at each other. Both saw the words they wanted to express in each other's eyes. Old Master Nan must have eaten something poisonous, and the poison stayed in his abdomen. Me for extra chapters. However, why did they not smell anything and only Xia smelled it? Nan Xian, Suyi turned to look at the old master. Do you have any way to make him vomit it out? Just beat him up, Nan Xian said coldly. Beat him up. Suyi stiffened. Isn't that too rude? He's your grandfather. But we can save him. Nan Xian's face was calm and his voice was clear and cold. Suyi was still hesitating. She doubted the old man could withstand it. Big Black can save him. But father has asked it to go away, Xia pouted. What do you mean? Well, father said Big Black is a bad doggy. It always disturbs mother, so father asked it to leave. I've once got a stomach ache and Big Black helped me to vomit. Big doggy is so powerful. Xia missed her big doggy. She sighed and lowered her head, looking a little sad. Suyi was silent for a few moments. But Qinger has so many herbal dishes. She can cure my father. There is no need to beat him. Old Master Nan is too old to bear it. Under the dark sky, the White Phoenix slowly opened its eyes and saw a familiar, stunning face. Tears fell from its eyes. Little Qing, those bastards want to hurt Suyi. I know. Feng Ruqing lowered her eyes. You don't have to worry. We're here. No one will hurt Suyi. You are probably tired. You should sleep for a while and when you wake up, everything will be fine. The White Phoenix was indeed very tired as it had used up all its energy. It looked at Sui before slowly closed its eyes. Not far away, Nan Fong spurted a mouthful of blood. His face was pale and he almost stumbled to the ground. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. His eyes turned cold. "Master, what's wrong?" The elders saw Nan Fong spitting blood from his mouth. Their faces changed slightly and they asked eagerly. Nan Fang's expression darkened as if carrying a violent storm. "Someone has removed the spiritual energy that I've sent to the White Phoenix's brain, but I have found out where Sui and the others are. They are still in Nan City. We can catch up to them." After saying that, Nan Fong moved as fast as lightning, and in the blink of an eye, he had already disappeared from the trail. Seeing this, the elders too hesitate no more. They rushed forward and followed Nan Fong. At this moment, Feng Ruching was already walking toward Old Master Nan. She stood next to him and frowned. "This scent is indeed a little stinky." Hearing Feng Ruching's words, Xia Xia lifted her small head proudly. "Me for extra chapters. Mother also says that his body stinks. I'm not the only one who thought so." Sui stared at the old master lying on the ground unconscious and fell silent. "Why only Xia Xia and Qinger can smell it? Why haven't I noticed anything?" "Maiden," Nan Luo bit her lower lips and stood up. "He is Aunt Sui's father, my grandfather. Can you please respect him? How could you say that to an old man?" Sui's face turned cold. "Oh," Feng Ruching glanced at Nan Luo coldly. "Are you Sui's niece?" "I." Nan Luo lowered her head and before she could speak, Sui on the side said coldly, "No." Sui's words somewhat hurt Nan Luo. She lowered her head, looking a little pitiful. "It seems that Aunt Sui still hates me because of father, but it's fine. After some time, Aunt Sui will understand that father and I are not the same." Nan Luo raised her head and smiled gently. "Aunt Sui is right. My father is only an adopted son, so I am not considered her niece. However, in my eyes there is no difference between aunt and mother." Nan Xian's expression darkened. His eyes were cold, expressionless. "It looks like you're enjoying your life in the Nan family. Now you have another daughter." Sui was speechless. She glanced at Nan Luo coldly and said, "Nan Luo, watch your mouth. I'm not your aunt nor your mother. I only have one son, Nan Xian. I do appreciate that you helped my father and me, but you're not my family no matter what." Moreover, Sui laughed lightly, "How much do you know about Qinger? What makes you think she doesn't respect the elderly? Nan Xian and I know her better, we don't need your opinion here. I brought you out of the Nan family because you've helped me. But your words just now are really unacceptable." Nan Luo froze, her smile faded. I didn't mean it. Aunt." Seeing Nan Sui's cold face, Nan Luo quickly changed her words. "I'm sorry. Lady Sui. Don't be angry with me." She wanted to be with Sui because Sui was the only one who had helped her and she liked Nan Xian. Nan Luo looked up at the man's handsome face. She pursed her lips and lowered her head again. "This man is too cold. I only dare to look at him from afar. But even just looking him from afar is enough for me. Mother, she's a bad woman." Xia Xia raised her small head. "She wanted to take me away. Sister Qing Han and father know about this." Nan Xian frowned. "Have you seen her before?" "She wanted to take me away from Sister Qing Han. She said that I should play with her brother for a few days. Father, it was you who took me home then." Nan Xian was silent for a moment. "How can I not remember where I've met this woman before?" He said coldly, "Oh, maybe I didn't notice her." Nan Luo suddenly felt that her heart was squeezed by a hand, and it hurt a little. She lowered her head and did not dare lift it, and her eyes were already teary. He was handsome and cold as an immortal. He did not even notice her. However, she had always remembered this man. Initially, she did not put any hope in him after she knew that this man had been married. However, why did she have to know that he was Sui's son, and why did she have to meet him again, me for extra chapters? She would not feel so bad if they never crossed paths again in this life. But now, it was hard for her to bear it, so hard that even her breathing grew heavy. Feng Ruching was already next to the old master and was squatting down to check his body. However, after hearing Xia Xia's words, her expression changed dramatically, and she stood up, looking at Nan Luo coldly. "Xia Xia, what did you just say?" Xia Xia pouted. She wanted to take Xia Xia away. "She's a bad woman." Boom. Feng Ruching threw a fierce punch at Nan Luo's chest. Her body flew away and landed on the ground in a heap. She vomited a mouthful of blood. Her face was as pale as paper and in shock. "After I heal old Master Nan, I will come back to settle the score with you." Feng Ruching had only brought along with her some healing herbal dishes. There was no antidote to eject the poison in the old master's body. She had to make the antidote on the spot. She had no time to deal with Nan Luo now. She took out pots and pans. Then she started to prepare the antidote in front of everyone. Nan Xian looked away from Feng Ruching and at Nan Luo. His clear, cold eyes made Nan Luo tremble hard. Tears flowed from her eyes. I didn't. My brother forced me to. I only asked her to play with my brother for a while. I didn't mean to take her away. And see, you know that. If I don't do what my brother asked, my parents will beat me. Nan Luo's voice cracked as tears were falling like rain. I had no choice. I couldn't disobey my brother. And see, you know what kind of life I live in the Nan family. I was so happy when you were willing to take me away. Even if I become a beggar, that's better than the life in the Nan family. Sui looked at Nan Luo skeptically. Didn't this girl refuse to leave? Why did she suddenly change her mind? However, no matter how she had changed, she had once bullied Xia Xia and dared to say that Qinger disrespected the elderly. Sui would never like her. I know. Actually, we can't really blame you. Your family was so cruel and you would be punished if you didn't listen to them. Nan Luo let out a soft sigh in relief. Her happiness did not last long as Sui continued, but that doesn't mean I can forgive you. I don't care what the reason is. Bullying my beloved granddaughter is not fine. Even if your parents killed you, it has nothing to do with me. I only care about Xia Xia. Nan Luo's face turned pale. She raised her head and looked at Sui incredulously. Her eyes were filled with shock. How could this be? And Sui is a good person. How could she say such vicious words? Could it be that all the good she did for me before was fake? Suddenly, Nan Luo saw the man in front of her wave his sleeve, and in the blink of an eye, a strong wind blew violently toward her, sending her flying a few meters away. Blood spilled from her mouth and stained her beautiful face red. Nan Luo landed in front of a man. She raised her head stiffly and saw Nan Fang's livid face. The elders who followed behind Nan Fang also froze, looking at Nan Luo, who had fallen in front of them in surprise. They then turned to Sui. Me for extra chapters. Sui, Nan Luo betrayed the Nan family for you. I didn't expect you to treat her like this as soon as you left. Nan Luo is a good girl. But she has helped the wrong person and ignored her father. When you attacked us in the Nan family, we've already suspected that you have a bad intention toward the Nan family. You have not come back to see old Master Nan for years and now you want to kill Nan Luo who helped you. It seems like those rumors are true. Nan Sui, you're such an ungrateful dog. The elder's words were still echoing through the entire sky when countless swords suddenly rushed toward him and pierced his body. He fell to the ground, dead. The crowd fell silent. They turned and looked at the handsome man in snow-white robes standing not far from Sui. This man looked so cold like the snowy mountains and his eyes were so clear. However, who would have thought that this man would kill people wantonly just because of his words? Nan Fang stared at Nan Xian coldly. Perhaps. Nan Fang was genuinely fond of Sui. The moment he saw Nan Xian, his eyes narrowed, a touch of murderous intent slowly grew in his eyes. This man looked so similar to Sui. That made Nan Fang want to kill him. Nan Xian's face grew colder when he saw Nan Fang. He turned to Sui and said, "You and Qinger wait for me at the side." Sui opened her mouth to say something, but after seeing Nan Xian's cold face, she finally said nothing and moved to the side. Nan Fang's eyes darkened as he stared at Nan Xian fiercely. Intense energy surged out of his palm, forming a strong wind ready to strike Nan Xian. In an instant, the whole world became dark. Nan Luo stood up from the ground. She looked panicked as she saw Nan Fang rushing toward Nan Xian. Nan Xian attacked her just now, however, she still could not help but worry about his safety. She then turned to the girl squatting in front of old Master Nan with envy. She had never envied anyone even after all the bullying she had suffered over the years. Only this time she envied Feng Ruching. Envied her for having such a perfect man by her side. Feng Ruching had already noticed Nan Luo's gaze, but she ignored it as she had to focus on preparing the herbal dish. Nan Fang was already in the front of Nan Xian. Their energy collided in the air, exploding and sending a powerful storm into the surroundings. Those closest were caught off guard and were pushed a few steps back, almost falling to the ground. Nan Xian felt blood in his throat, but he swallowed to make Sui and Feng Ruching worry about him. He remained calm and his eyes were still as cold as before. What is your relationship with Sui? Nan Fang clenched his fists tightly as he stared at the man in front of him fiercely. Me for extra chapters. There was no way he could accept that Sui, who almost became his wife back then, had married someone else. Nan Xian smirked. She's my mother. She's my mother. Anger burned in Nan Fang's heart and swept out like a storm with a monstrous fury. Nan Fang gritted his teeth and snapped, Suyi, you've married someone else. Who is that bastard? His eyes were bloodshot like an angry lion. At that moment, Suyi suddenly wanted to shout Mu Ling's name. To her, Mu Ling and Nan Fang were not different. Both were bastards. However, after thinking about it for the sake of old Master Mu, she eventually did not say it. She smiled faintly and said, more than 20 years have passed. It is normal for me to marry someone else. Who has said that I am not allowed to marry someone else in this life? Suyi? Nan Fang burned with anger, and his eyes were filled with blazing flames. Back then you refused to marry me. But now you said you'd married someone else. I don't care. You can't escape anymore in this son of yours. You will die in my hands. After saying that, Nan Fang transformed into a long sword and once again rushed toward Nan Xian. Those elders of the Nan family were stunned, and they glared at Suyi accusingly and angrily. Suyi, the old master has been seriously ill and bedridden these days, yet you are out marrying and having children on your own. How are you different from an animal when you act like this? This was said as if Suyi should not have gotten married, much less given birth to a son. Whether Nan Fang got married or not, Suyi had to end up alone. The White Phoenix was tired of resting, who knew that the arrival of this group of people from the Nan family had not allowed it to rest properly after all. It stood up, walked to Suyi's side and used its body to shield her. If Nan Fang can marry and have children, why can't Suyi do the same? Hated Mu Ling. Because he had hurt Suyi. However, Suyi chose to marry Mu Ling in the first place. It was her decision and no one could interfere. It's different, the white-robed elder said in shock and anger. Master is a male. He must have children to continue the family line for the Nan family. But Suyi is a daughter. Old Master Nan has been seriously ill for many years. She wasn't serving him but was out on her own to have fun. Doesn't she feel ashamed to face the old master? Suyi closed her eyes. Back then, it was these people who had accused her indiscriminately. Her father had protected her from the public. However, as a daughter, she was unable to protect him. Suyi opened her eyes slowly and walked toward the elders. What you said is true. I am unfilial and have caused my father to suffer a lot. The Nan family elders were a little surprised that they did not expect Suyi to admit her mistake so quickly. But, Suyi sneered, if I'm not mistaken, Nan Fang is not my father's biological son. Continuing the family line for the Nan family? Ridiculous. He is not even a member of the Nan family, so why should he do so? Zhao Yi, I want you to explain it. Me for extra chapters. She looked at the white-robed elder coldly. Zhao Yi gritted his teeth. Our Nan family has been waiting for someone to appear all these years, the young master. He is that person. Nan Fang is the young master's father. There's nothing wrong with Master Nan Fang as our new head family. But you and your son were born rebellious. You're such an ungrateful woman. Master Nan Fang is at least your brother. Your son should address him as uncle and respect him. But look, now he wants to kill his uncle. Old Master Nan is still unconscious. We, as the Nan family elders, will take care of this matter. All these years, if it were not Nan Fang doing his best in taking care of old Master Nan, perhaps, the old master would have been long gone. Would he still be alive today? Indeed, he is an adopted son. But he deserves to take over the Nan family because of his filial piety. However, Suyi, as a biological daughter, is so unfilial and ungrateful. Who is right and who is wrong, can't we tell the difference? Zhao Yi let out a soft sigh and continued, Suyi, you shouldn't have come back. If you hadn't come back, none of these things would have happened now. He then ordered the men behind him, while Master is stopping that guy, all of you should go and bring old Master Nan back. Even if it means death, the old master cannot die in these people's hands. Hearing Zhao Yi's words, the other elders had all walked toward old Master Nan. They had just taken a few steps when Suyi stopped them. The woman was dressed in white, holding a long sword in her hand, which permeated an ice-cold chill. No one is allowed to take another step forward. Under the dark sky, the woman in a snow-white dress stood elegantly. All the people of the Nan family were blocked, and they seemed a little annoyed. Feng Ruqing poured a cup of herbal soup from the pot and slowly walked toward old Master Nan. Xia Xia looked at the herbal soup that Feng Ruqing was holding and began drooling. However, at this moment, Feng Ruqing did not have time to take care of Xia Xia. She squatted down, took out a spoon, scooped a spoonful of soup and put it into the old master's mouth. The old master was unconscious, so there was no way he could drink the soup. Feng Ruqing frowned. She then used her fingers to move the old master's mouth open and forcibly fed him the soup. Not far away, Zhao Yi saw that Feng Ruqing had fed something to old master Nan. His face changed dramatically and he growled, "What did you feed the old master? You really don't even want to let the old man die in peace and are feeding him poison?" He swung his sword at Suyi, wanting to force Suyi to move aside so that he could rush in and save old master Nan. However, Suyi raised her sleeves and a fierce wind blew at Zhao Yi, forcing him to take a few steps back. His face darkened. "Suyi?" He gritted his teeth. Suyi sneered. "I said that no one could bother Qinger. I will not allow anyone to come forward." Powerful energy surged out of Suyi's body. Her hair moved like a waterfall. Her power was quite strong that it shocked the elders, but her face remained calm. The white phoenix was also standing next to Suyi calmly. Feng Ruqing ignored the battle behind her. Even though the battle had set off a strong storm, she still did not turn around. She continued feeding the old master her herbal soup calmly. Xiaxia's eyes were full of light as she looked at the old master unblinkingly. "Me for extra chapters. Mother, when is he going to wake up?" Feng Ruqing fed him the last spoonful of soup and got up indifferently. "Soon." Just as she was done talking, old master Nan started coughing. He coughed out a mouthful of black blood, and within that black blood was a white worm moving around. However, soon the wind blew and the worm turned into a puddle of white liquid and disappeared. Yet this was not the end. The old master coughed harder as if he was about to cough out his lungs. At the beginning of that cough, he coughed very lightly so it did not attract too much attention. However, with the sound of that cough, everyone above the battlefield was stunned. All eyes turned to old master Nan. The old master. Wasn't he already dead just now? Is he still alive? The elders were still hoping for old master Nan, and when they saw that the old master had awakened, they were naturally delighted. Only Nan Fong, with a livid face, looked at old master Nan angrily. "This damned old man is still alive. He should have died. Why did he still come back to life? However, even if he didn't die this time, he will not live longer than a few days." All these years, Nan Fong had been poisoning the old master. The poisonous insects in the old master's stomach would have absorbed his Buddhist spiritual energy and nutrients, making him weaker day by day until he died. Therefore, there will be no possibility for that old man to recover. Nan Fong smirked as he thought about that. However, the smile on his lips suddenly froze a few moments later. He saw that old master Nan kept coughing up a pool of black blood from his throat, and many worms were wandering in the blood. Later, the old master opened his eyes and looked somewhat lost. Perhaps he still did not know what was happening around him. "Father?" Suyi turned around and smiled happily as she saw old master Nan had woken up. She pushed the elders in front of her aside with the strong wind from her palm and quickly rushed toward the old master. "Father, how are you doing?" The old master looked at Suyi unblinkingly, afraid that what he saw before him was just a dream. As if he might wake up from this dream and she would have disappeared. "He's all right now." Feng Ruqing stood up. He has thrown up all the things he had consumed over the years, so now his body is still a little weak, and he needs to rest for a while. Cough. The old master coughed again, and he trembled as he stretched out his hand and caressed Suyi's face. Tears streamed down Suyi's cheeks and dripped down to the ground. She reached out, firmly grasped the old master's hand, and placed his hand on her cheek. The street instantly went quiet. All the people stopped making noise, but after looking at the old master who just came back from the dead, their gazes were also filled with shock. Suyi, the old master's throat was hoarse, and it was very difficult even to say this one word. He had just recovered and still could not speak well. But that pair of old eyes had long been full of tears. "Father, I'm here." Suyi's gaze was filled with guilt. "I'm sorry, it was all because I had left that year that I have brought you such great harm. No matter what happens in the future, I will never leave again." The old master opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but looking at the daughter he had missed for so long, all his thoughts became tears, and his body trembled a little. "Me for extra chapters." "See? She's fine, great." Old master Nan, Zhao Yi put away the sword in his hand. He looked at Suyi before slowly stepping forward and bowing respectfully. "Since you are safe now, please follow us back to the Nan family." After saying that, Zhao Yi raised his hand and wanted to pull the old master up from the ground. The old master did not know where he found his strength, and with a fierce wave of his hand, he forced Zhao Yi back a few steps. "Master?" Zhao Yi was shocked as he looked at the old master somewhat helplessly. Get lost. The old master's old face darkened as he spat those words coldly. His voice was not clear, but everyone could still feel the anger in that voice. Nanfang's face sank. He clenched his fists tightly, and only after a few seconds did he release them. Guards. To avoid my father being deceived again, bring him back to the Nan family immediately. The sky was gloomy, covered by dark clouds. The entire Nan city was filled with a murderous aura. Nan Xian had descended from the sky and landed next to Feng Ruqing. His face was clear and cold and as handsome as an immortal's. I'll see who dares to do that. Old Master Nan stood up with Sui supporting him. He stumbled a little. His eyes were filled with anger as he pointed at Nan Feng angrily. Nan Feng looked at the old master and sneered. After those parasites left that old man's body, he has even recovered his voice. However, his voice was hoarse and somewhat hard to hear because he had not spoken for a long time. Unfortunately, it was too late. If he was woken up earlier, perhaps he could still save his Nan family. Now the entire Nan family was controlled by Nan Feng. Even the old master's loyal men had long died. No one could stop Nan Feng. I'll see who dares to touch my daughter again. The old master stumbled, but his back was firm, and his gaze was as stern as a sword just as it was back then. Nan Feng, I thought you were pitiful and gifted, so I had adopted you as my son. But I never thought you were such an ungrateful villain. You and Wei Rong poisoned me. You made me fall ill and made me mute. For the sake of my daughter's life, I have endured the humiliation all these years. To me, instead of being tortured in the Nan family, it would be better for me to die. Good thing God had mercy on me and allowed me to see my daughter again. Nan Feng, the people who followed me back then have died in your hands. I will not let you hurt my daughter anymore. These words were like a thunderbolt from the sky, hitting the elders of the Nan family, who were shocked and unable to recover their senses. Old Master Nan just said that. Master had poisoned him? And threatened him with Sui's life? Impossible. However, soon as they thought of Nan Fang's cruelty toward the old master's men and the spirit beasts, what old Master Nan said just now made sense. However, it was also because of Nan Fang's methods that the Nan family was now able to have today's status, and he was still different from the gentle old Master Nan after all. I don't understand what you're talking about. Nan Fang shrugged and sneered. Father, I have treated you well all these years. Now you see that Sui has returned, and you don't need me anymore, so you are trying to trap me and intend to throw me off this position? Me for extra chapters. You, the old master pointed at Nan Fang. He was so furious that he could not even say a complete sentence. His old face reddened and his gaze was filled with anger. Father, I have worked so hard for the Nan family, and in the end, you and your daughter want to kick me out, Nan Fang said mockingly. The old master's body had not fully recovered. His breath grew heavy when he was angry. Sui was afraid that the old master would collapse from anger. She hurriedly used her hand to stroke his back and glanced at Nan Fang coldly. The murderous intent in her eyes grew intense. The elders also came back to their senses after a moment of hesitation. They looked at each other and turned to Sui and the others. Master is right. Old Master Nan, your son has sacrificed a lot for you and the Nan family over the years. How could you treat him like this for your unfilial daughter? Without Master, the Nan family would not have grown to this extent. He has not only the credit but also the hard work. Isn't it too unfair for you to treat him like this? No matter the truth, the only one they would accept as the head of the family was Nan Fang. They had lost their respect for Sui and she was a daughter, so she could not replace Nan Fang's position. Moreover, not long ago there was a rumor that Nan Fang's son, Nan Feiyu, was the reincarnation of the ancestor of the Nan family. But they still needed confirmation. The ancestor had made a promise that one day he would return to the Nan family. He had left so many treasures to be used by the Nan family for cultivation. Now Nan Feiyu was the only male heir of the Nan family over the past decade. Perhaps it was the perfect time for the ancestor to return. Therefore, how could they kick Nan Fang out of the Nan family only for Sui? Sui, Feng Ruqing looked at the elders and walked towards Sui calmly. Old Master Nan is safe now, but his body is still weak. We can't make him angry. I think we have to go back first. Sui was stunned. She pursed her lips and lowered her eyes. Indeed, Nan Fang has become stronger. It might be hard to defeat him now. Moreover, father is not feeling well and Xia Xia needs protection. It's not easy to handle everything at one time. Alright, we can settle them later. White Phoenix, take Xia Xia and father back. We will follow later. The white phoenix looked at Sui concernedly, but it understood the most important thing today was to send the old master and Xia Xia, who could not protect themselves, to a safe place. It looked back at Sui before finally stretching out its claws, throwing the old master and Xia Xia onto its back, and quickly disappearing into the sky. Nanfang's main target was Sui. Seeing the old master's condition today, even if he recovered, his strength wouldn't be the same as before. Therefore the old master was no longer a threat to him. However, Sui, she was the woman he had always wanted but could not get. Sui, I'm afraid it won't be easy for you to leave this place. Nanfang sneered and walked towards Sui. A strong spiritual power surged out of his body, surrounding him like dust. Sui's face sank. Nanfang is much stronger than 20 years ago. It's a little difficult to escape from him, but, no matter how strong Nanfang is today, he can't stop me from leaving this place. Nan Xian, Feng Ruqing turned to Nan Xian and smiled. We've to leave this place together? Alright, me for extra chapters. The man smiled gently, but his eyes turned cold when he looked at the enemy in front of him. In a flash, Nan Xian was already in front of Nanfang, raising his cold, long sword. Nan Luo looked at the scene in front of her in shock. Her eyes reddened. She did not understand how things could come to such a point. She stood silent for a long time, biting her lower lips. Regardless of how Nan Xian treated her just now, she could not sit idly by. Clang. The swords clashed in the air with a burst of sparks. Nan Xian stood firmly on the ground, refusing to retreat because there were two women he valued most in his life behind him. One was his wife and the other was his mother. Boom. Feng Ruqing raised her hand, and a huge pot appeared above her head, smashing onto the elders like a thunderbolt, bringing up dust everywhere. Meanwhile, she raised her hand and a black sword appeared in her palm, setting off a fierce storm around it. Little Soul appeared in front of Feng Ruqing and immediately rushed toward the enemy. The blood stained the earth red. The people standing in front of Sui were also a part of the Nan family, but Sui did not show any mercy as she looked at those robes stained red with blood. Initially she could still forgive them because she knew Nanfang had deceived them. However, after her father came forward to explain the truth, they still consciously chose to trust Nanfang. As that was the case, they were then destined to be her enemies. Lu Yi and other elders' faces changed dramatically. Even Little Soul's power alone had overwhelmed them, not to mention the huge pot. If Nanfang was not strong enough, perhaps they could not stop Sui from leaving this place. Nan Xian, after Feng Ruqing handed that Nan family to the huge pot and Little Soul, she rushed to stand next to Nan Xian. Don't wait for them. Let's get out of here first. It was still difficult to confront the Nan family with their current power, so it was imperative to leave as quickly as possible. All right. Nan Xian waved his sleeve, blocking the people who were rushing toward them. He then held Feng Ruqing's waist, moved to Sui's side, pulled her arm and rushed up into the sky. Nan Xian moved so fast, leaving only a shadow. Nanfang's expression changed dramatically, and he was about to chase after them when the huge pot slammed down on him. His face darkened. A strong wind surged out of his sword, sending the huge pot some distance away. The huge pot was as hard as iron. It came again and blocked Nanfang from leaving. Get out of the way. Nanfang growled. It was so hard to find Sui, so he would never allow her to leave him again. Me for extra chapters. The huge pot was furious, buzzing toward Nanfang fiercely. Nanfang flew to the sky not far away before the huge pot could smash his face. Nanfang looked in the direction where Sui and the others had disappeared. His face darkened, and he smashed his fist against the tree angrily. Destroy the pot and the soul? Little Soul stood not far away, looking at the elders who were coming to him coldly. He smirked, and in the blink of an eye, his body gradually turned into a gust of wind and disappeared. He was the Black Sword Soul. Therefore he would disappear once the Black Sword had left. That was why Feng Ruqing left him alone in this place. She knew Little Soul would catch up to them. The huge pot saw that Little Soul was gone. It buzzed and flew up as fast as lightning, disappearing without a trace. Nanfang was stunned and he looked so furious. Slowly he turned to Nan Luo. The anger in his eyes was so obvious that it was like he could incinerate her with his eyes. Nan Luo was so shocked. Her face turned pale as she took a few steps back. Father, Nanfang slapped her face ruthlessly. Tears were streaming down her face. Her cheeks swelled up and she bit her lip hard, not daring to make any sound. Useless. Nanfang sneered. What's the point of following Sui? You did not give her the drug and now she has left you here. Nan Luo panicked and kowtowed. Father, I was wrong. I know I was wrong. Please let me go. Nan Fang kicked her hard as if the one kowtowing before him was not his daughter. Let you go? You are so useless and you want me to let you go? Nan Luo's face was pale and somewhat frightened. She lowered her head and bit her lip hard. Why did Aunt Sui not take me when she left? She knows that father will kill me if she leaves me here alone. But she still left me. Nan Luo clenched her fists tightly. Her eyes were filled with hatred. There was even endless anger burning in her heart. Even when she was blamed by her mother, bullied by her brother, and beaten by her father, she had never been so heartbroken. However, this time when Sui left her, she finally understood. The hatred. I hate you. And Sui, I hate you so much. Nan Luo, do you see now? Nan Fang walked toward Nan Luo and looked at her coldly. No matter how much you help Sui, she will never care about your life. You're not important to her. Nan Luo lowered her eyes and did not speak. So, you should understand what to do next. Nan Luo understood what Nan Fang wanted her to do. Her body stiffened a little and she slowly closed her eyes. When she opened her eyes, they no longer had the initial charm and pity but instead were cold and expressionless. I understand. She knew what she should do. Do you know where Sui and the others have gone? Nan Fang asked coldly. Nan Luo clenched her fists tightly, clutching a handful of mud on the ground and letting her nails sink deep into the mud. I don't know, but I will find a way to find her, me for extra chapters. She knew where Sui would go. After all, Feng Ruching was Tianya's granddaughter. However, even at this moment, Nan Luo could not lie about her feelings for Nan Xian. She hated Sui and Feng Ruching, but she could not feel any hatred for that man. He'll give you a month to bring Sui to me. Nan Fang glanced at Nan Luo coldly. Sui is cold, but you've helped her. She will allow you to stay with her when she knows that you're suffering because of her. Nan Fang took out a long braid and brought it down hard on Nan Luo's body. The stinging pain made Nan Luo break out in a cold sweat. Her delicate body trembled lightly, endless hatred filled her heart, and her pair of eyes could not hide it. This was what Nan Fang wanted. The more Nan Luo hated Sui, the more she would help him. Another whip came down, covering Nan Luo with blood and lashes all over her body. Even some of the elders could not stand to watch. However, Nan Luo was just a girl. Girls in the Nan family had no status. They were tools to be used. Nan Luo remained silent. She would remember the pain she felt today. She was no longer the old Nan Luo. There was nothing left in her except hatred. You can go now. Nan Fang sneered. Nan Luo, don't let me down again. If you succeed, your status in the Nan family will be as high as your brother. Nan Luo might still be excited to hear these words from Nan Fang in the past. However, now her heart has completely frozen, expressionless. I know. Nan Luo stood up from the ground. She had long been in rags and bruises. She smirked. This time, I won't let you down. She staggered to the door after she said those words. Her footsteps were a little unsteady as if she would fall to the ground at any moment. The sunset enveloped the young girl's thin figure. At this time she looked lonely and pitiful. Far above the sky, Feng Ruching saw a giant dragon flying toward them. The black dragon rushed toward her and burst into tears. Little Nine, it glared at Nan Xian fiercely and looked at Feng Ruching again pitifully. This bastard left me behind. Little Nine, he doesn't allow me to get close to you. Feng Ruching was a little surprised. Really? State Preceptor said you went with a female dragon and ran away. Big Black was speechless. This is a blatant accusation. This bastard framed me. He wants to own Little Nine alone. Little Nine, don't listen to his nonsense. I'm not that kind of person and am not interested in female dragons. The only one I like in this life is you. Bang! A powerful force landed heavily on the black dragon's chest. The black dragon's figure turned into light and disappeared in an instant. Let's go. You will go back on later. We should go home now. Nan Xian looked at Feng Ruching and smiled gently. The smile was as warm as the sunset. All right, me for extra chapters. The black dragon knew the way back, so he would certainly go back to General Manor by himself. Let's go. Grandfather must be worried about us. General Manor. Tang Yin put her hands on her chin, looking at Xiaoya unblinkingly. She sighed with a look of worry. When will mother wake up? Xiaoya and snake figure coiled up into a ball, sleeping peacefully. The sunlight poured upon it, creating a warm glow around it. Young lady is back. A cheerful voice came from outside the door. Tang Yin got up and rushed toward the door. When she went out, she saw a familiar face. The woman was dressed in a blood-colored dress, stunningly beautiful. Then a white phoenix appeared next to her. Sui helped the old master down. Chinger, it'll take father to rest for a while. All right. Feng Ruqing nodded smilingly and turned to Tang Yin. Has Xiaoya woken up yet? When Tang Yin heard this, the light in her eyes dimmed, and all the smiles on her face disappeared. She shook her head. Not yet. Oh, then I guess we still need to wait. Feng Ruqing sighed, and her gaze was also filled with worry. The white phoenix looked at Tang Yin in confusion. Little girl, where is Nalan Jing? Brother Nalan? Tang Yin was blank. Nalan Jing followed you after he knew that you came to Land of No Return. Why didn't you see him? The white phoenix paused and asked somewhat hesitantly. It couldn't be that something happened, right? Tang Yin and Feng Ruqing's face changed dramatically. Feng Ruqing suddenly stepped forward, dragged the white phoenix up and said coldly, he came here too? 2 years. Even Tang Yin could find her. If Nalan Jing had come to Land of No Return, he should have come to her first. The white phoenix panicked, subconsciously gulped. I don't know. Oh no, it was me who told Nalan Jing about this place. If something bad happened to him, I might not have the chance to marry Sui. Tell me, is my cousin coming here? Feng Ruqing's hands were trembling a bit as she grasped the white phoenix tightly. The white phoenix was almost crying. I'm not sure whether he came or not. He was aware of your whereabouts and knew that Tang Yin was coming here, so he chased after her. But I'm not sure whether he has successfully come to Land of No Return or not. I don't know. Feng Ruqing loosened her hand. She clenched her fists tightly, her heart beating faster. Chinger. Nan Xian pulled Feng Ruqing into his arms and soothed her. It will be fine. Don't worry. Later I will let Qing Zhu go find him. Feng Ruqing closed her eyes. Nalan Jing was still young when she first met him. He was bullied many times by the old Feng Ruqing. However, when she was in danger, he still stepped in to save her. He was disappointed with Feng Ruqing, but he still chose to stand by her side. I will not let anything happen to him. Feng Ruqing opened her eyes. Old housekeeper, call all the guards and ask them to go find my cousin. I will give you his portrait later. Post his portrait all over every corner of this mainland. Anyone who sees my cousin can come to General Manor to receive a high-grade spirit herb as a reward. The old housekeeper responded respectfully, yes, young lady, me for extra chapters. Go immediately. If her cousin had come to Land of No Return, then she would definitely find him. Tang Yin's small face was pale and she was about to cry. Xiao Qing, I can find this place easily. If Brother Nalan is still alive, there's no way he can't find it. Feng Ruqing was speechless. The way she said it was as if Nalan Jing was already dead. Don't worry. I will find him. Feng Ruqing patted Tang Yin's head. Tang Yin's eyes lit up. Really? Is Brother Nalan still alive? Yes. He'll be fine. Xiao Qing, I trust you. Tang Yin finally smiled, revealing her little tiger teeth. That smile was as bright as sunshine. The only person she trusted in her life was Feng Ruqing. Since Feng Ruqing said Nalan Jing was still alive, he must be alive. However, Feng Ruqing was quite worried, and a cold aura flashed across her eyes. If someone killed Nalan Jing, then it'll send that person to a place that he can never return. Since the Day 9 Gate came and took Xia Xia away, all people in General Manor had watched her closely. Even Chenya did not leave the manor as his eyes were always fixed on Xia Xia. All people in Wushang City knew the incident in General Manor, and with Tianya's temper, he would not stay silent and certainly would seek revenge. However, Wushang City was as calm as nothing had happened. And this calmness made people feel more anxious, like a bad storm was coming soon. 2 guards stood in front of General Manor's gate. They sat nearly motionless like statues. A girl covered in blood stumbled and fell in front of the gate. Due to what had happened back then, everyone in General Manor was very defensive. The guards became more cautious when they saw this messy girl. Who are you? He blocked the girl's way with his sword and asked in a deep voice. The girl ruffled her messy hair. She raised her head and said timidly, Sui is my aunt. Please go and tell my aunt that Nan Luo has come to see her. The Nan family? The 2 guards looked at each other and one of them went in to find Sui. In the backyard, Sui was sitting on the pavilion holding Xia Xia smilingly. Just then, a guard hurriedly came and respectfully reported, Lady Sui, someone has come to see you. Sui raised her eyebrows and looked at the guard. The guard continued, that person called you Aunt Sui and is named Nan Luo. Nanluo? Suyi paused for a moment. I've almost forgotten about this girl. We left in a hurry that day and forgot about her. Nan Fong would certainly not let this girl go, however she did not like Nanluo. Suyi took her out of Nan Manor only because Nanluo had helped her. She was rude to Qing'er, and that made Suyi dislike her more. But Nanluo managed to escape, which was a bit surprising to her. I'll go to meet her. No matter what, Suyi could not just leave her at the gate. Me for extra chapters. At least, she had to ask Nanluo to leave. Otherwise she might offend Qing'er again. Even Suyi could not bear it, let alone Nan Xian. Grandmother, is it that bad woman? Xia Xia bit her finger and asked. Suyi smiled and stroked Xia Xia's little nose. Yes, I'll go see what she wants from us. All right, Xia Xia smiled adorably and held Suyi's hand. I'll go with you. Suyi's heart softened as she looked at the little girl's bright smile. It is really great to have a daughter. Whether she was laughing or crying, it was like seeing a flower in bloom, making her heart feel all warm and fuzzy. Nanluo saw Suyi came over with a little girl. Her eyes reddened, tears fell, and she cried pitifully. Aunt Suyi? Suyi frowned. She was quite uncomfortable with the way Nanluo addressed her. However, seeing Nanluo's blood-soaked appearance, she could not help but freeze for a moment, shocked. How could Nan Fong do such a ruthless thing to his daughter? He's so cruel, Aunt. Nanluo tears fell like rain, kneeling in front of Suyi. Father beat me up and kicked me out. I have nowhere to go now. Aunt Suyi, please let me stay with you. Suyi's face sank. First, I'm not your aunt. I don't have any relationship with Nan Fong. Secondly, this is Qing'er's home. You've offended her before, so I can't let you stay here. Nanluo lowered her head and clenched her fists tightly. She said pitifully, I didn't mean it. I thought she disliked grandfather and was against him. But now I understand. She was trying to save grandfather. Please, if you don't take me in, I really have nowhere to go. Suyi looked at Nanluo, who was kneeling in front of her. She was covered in blood and scars, which made people feel sympathy toward her. However, the person in front of her was Nanluo. She was Nan Fang's daughter. I don't care what the reason is. It's wrong to speak ill of Qing'er. Actually, I could still find my father without your help. But you've helped, so I can only help you find somewhere else to stay, not General Manor. Suyi's face was cold. Nanluo panicked and lunged forward to hug Suyi's legs. Aunt Suyi, I have no other relatives but you. I've betrayed my parents to help you. They will never want me again. If you kick me out too, I will only be alone after this. Aunt Suyi, can you just sit and watch this happen? Suyi did not pull her leg away and stared at Nanluo expressionlessly. If Nanluo had not spoken out against Feng Ruqing, perhaps she would have been soft-hearted enough to let Nanluo stay with her. Feng Ruqing was more important to her. Suyi, just when Suyi wanted to refuse, a voice came from behind her, causing her to pause and turn to look at the woman walking toward her. Feng Ruqing looked at Suyi smilingly. If she wants to stay, then she can stay. Suyi and Nanluo froze for a moment. They did not expect that Feng Ruqing would let Nanluo stay in General Manor. Qing'er? Suyi looked confused. She did not understand why Feng Ruqing decided that. Feng Ruqing smiled faintly and said, she has helped you. It's better to let her stay here so that others will not say that we are ungrateful. Suyi was speechless. Me for extra chapters. Is Qing'er the kind of person who cares about other people's gossip? She knew Feng Ruqing very well. Feng Ruqing never cared about what people said. In any case, Feng Ruqing must have her reasons for keeping Nanluo here. What Suyi needed to do was to go along with her plan. Nanluo bit her lower lip and lowered her eyes. She did not understand why Feng Ruqing would choose to keep her. Did she think I will be thankful to her? These people had left her behind and caused her to be tortured by her father. So these people were her enemies. The person who had made Nanluo suffer was Nan Fong, so the one she should hate was him. However, she had put all the blame on Suyi. Suyi was at fault because she left her behind and made her suffer from the torture. She never even blamed Nan Fong. Instead, she blamed it all on Suyi. Feng Ruqing turned to the servant behind her and said coldly, prepare a guest room for her. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.